Welcome to EPG Padasala. Under the Indian culture, the principles and methods of archaeology, I will talk today on the causes of deterioration. My name is Dr. D. Dayalan, ex-director, Archaeology Survey of India. There are many causes for deterioration of the ancient monument, and I will just discuss about the causes as well as the remedies which has been taken by the various conservator to conserve the archaeological monuments. Many factors responsible for the deterioration of the cultural properties. It is necessary to understand the causes to take up any conservation work. Unless you don't know the causes of the conservation or the causes of the deterioration, it is difficult to take up any conservation. So conservation method has to be decided on the basis of the nature of the decay and deterioration of the ancient monuments. First of all, it has to be understood there are different causes of conservation. The causes may happen for different factors. Mainly the diverse of climatic and environmental effect. It is one of the major cause for the deterioration of the monument. And biological and botanical causes, it is also one of the factors which is responsible for the deterioration of the monuments. Natural disasters like earthquake, tsunami, all the things, it is also one of the causes for the deterioration. Then man-made causes and the defect in the design and the material which has been used for the construction of the ancient monument and other factors. These are all the main causes for the deterioration of the ancient monuments. Coming to the climatic causes, there are many climatic causes, particularly sun, rain, all the things, which is also have a lot of effect on the monuments. Coming to the sun, basically the sun radiation, heat which generate, which obviously affects the monument, particularly the weathering action. It's one of the main cause for the deterioration of monument. Sometimes because of the weathering, the layers will peel out, particularly when they are having the sculptures or inscriptions, that also come out. So this is one of the major cause for the deterioration of the monuments. And coming to the granitic temples or the granitic monuments, when the heat radiation, because the contrast of sun and the night, there will be a cooling. So because of the radiation as well as the cooling, the contrast weathering, it affects the stones, particularly the granite or sandstone or any other metamorphic stones. So you can show you some of the examples here, particularly in the Gangekonda Solapuram in Tamil Nadu, where it is having beautiful sculptures as well as the inscriptions. Because of the weathering action, of the contrast weathering action, many of the inscription has been peeled out, and it's very difficult to reconstruct the inscriptions because it's already lost. And even the outer layer of the sculptures, it has also been lost because of the weathering action. And next comes the rain as a tsunami, cyclone, other thing. It is also one of the very destructive factor in the monument, particularly during the heavy rains. Sometimes the monuments or the buildings which will be washed off, or because of the raising of the water, the capillary action, other action will happen, and some of the monuments even deteriorated because of the waterlogging in particular monuments. And I can show you here some of the examples where how the waterlogging has been affected to the monuments. This is one example at Dharasuram, because that's all in the Kaveri Delta area. And even during the rainy season, the water level will be raised up and it will be completely choked with the monuments. And there is a lot of waterlogging. And because of the waterlogging, the foundation lost its strength and also caused the decaying and deterioration of the structures. And again, another example at Ellora and Ajanta, where the water which is coming high speed from the top of the hill and flow over the monument, and it will affect the facades of the monuments. And this we could see at Ajanta, Ellora, and many other caves, particularly in the Western Ghats. Another factor is the leakage of the monument, leakage of the water, because when water, it will be stagnated somewhere and then it goes on percolating to the structure, and gradually it will be creating a lot of problems to the structures. This we can see in many monuments where the water has been percolating, and then it is gradually creating nuisance to the monument. In addition to this, the water leakage, along with the water, sometimes the salt also come along with the water. This salt actually accumulate or deposit over the monument. It became an occurrence to the monument, and also it will have a lot of structural problems in future. Then other cause, of course, is only in the, particularly in the Himalayan regions where we can get the frost, snow and ice. It will deposit over the monument, and because of the load of the snow deposit over the monument, particularly in the edges, it will break. And sometimes it will create even the collapse of these structures. So these causes generally happened in the areas where is a snowfall area, particularly in the Himalayan regions. These are some of the examples where we can see how the snow has been affected to the monument. Particularly it has been depositing over the thing and creating the collapse of the structure. The wind is again one of the great factors which is responsible for the deterioration of a monument. Particularly when wind in high velocity, it blasts to the structure. Because of the sand, it comes with along with the very heavy particle of the sand. It blasts with the structure. When it blasts with the structure, it creates a defacing, deterioration, and even cracking to the structures. It happens. This we could see in many monuments, particularly in the coastal regions, because in the coastal regions where the wind in high velocity will blast to the monument, and it will completely deface the structures, architectural members, even the inscriptions, all the things. This is some of the examples where we can see at Shore Temple, Mahabalipuram is very close to the coast, and where because of the sandblasting as well as saline action, many of the sculptures has been completely defaced. We could not be able to identify the sculptural, the original nature of the sculptures. The other thing is the groundwater. Sometimes because of the rise and the receding of the groundwater, this also creates problem, particularly the lowermost part of the structure as well as the foundation. Suppose if the water rises up, because of the capillary action, it will come up and then creating a lot of decay or deterioration of the lower portion of the structure. Suppose the water goes down and it creates a shrinkage of the foundation, and again it will create a settlement of the structure. This is again a big problem to the monuments. The settlement or the level raising and the decreasing of the water level, it is also create a lot of nuisance to the monuments. This is one monument where we can see because of the raising of the water in the ground level, particularly the lower level has been affected due to the capillary action, and gradually it will create a lot of very loose foundation, and also the base became loose or weak, and finally it will cause to the deterioration or the collapsing of the structure. Lightning is again one of the big factor which is responsible for the deterioration of the monument. Many monuments in India has been affected by the lightning. Particularly Qutub Minar, it has been affected many times by the lightning, and also the Charminar, one of the minar has been affected by the lightning. Like that, there are many monuments which have been affected by lightning. So we have to take precautionary action to prevent lightning to affect in the monuments. Earthquake, as you know, it is one of the great factor which is responsible for the deterioration of the many monuments. And the earthquake is it's a subsequent process. Actually, the secondary effect of this earthquake is tsunami, landslide, ground fractures, and these all some of the factors which is mainly responsible for the deterioration of the monuments. Particularly, the main cause, deterioration agency or the deterioration cause for the tsunami is or the earthquake is the surface faulting, ground shaking, and ground subsidence, soil liquefaction, and landsliding, flood. These are all some of the factors which cause deteriorating to the monuments. I can show some of the earthquake affected monuments, particularly in the Gujarat region recently. I mean, some few decades, few years before, many monuments has been collapsed. Particularly, I can show you one of the Chhatri in Burj area. The whole Burj has been, the whole structure has been collapsed, and we can see only the remains of that. And many monuments in the Gujarat region, it has been developed cracks because of the earthquake. So this is one of the big factor which is causing deterioration to the monuments. Other factor is the fire. The fires can be occurred by lightning, short circuit, human error, and erosion. These are the main factor for the firing. And many monuments in India has been lost because of the firing. And particularly, one of the example I can show you in Pune, there is a monument called Sanivaravada. It has been affected many times by fire because the whole superstructure is made of wood. So often this wood is been subject to firing, and that's why we have lost the whole superstructure. Only the base is available at present. Like that, there are many monuments in India, particularly the wooden monuments, that has been affected. Even the stone is not very firm in the fire. So often, if it goes the higher temperature, even stone monuments also affected by the firings. The main other cause for the deterioration of the monuments is air pollution and acid rain. As you know, the acid rain is one of the very alarming topic nowadays throughout the world, and this not only cause problem to the human being or the vegetation, even the monuments is affected very well by this the acid rains. Actually, the atmospheric pollution is not only cause adverse effect to the living being as well as the ecosystem, but also the heritage buildings. The pollution in the ambient air can be a solid particle, liquid droplets, or gases. So these are all the three forms we get the pollutions in the air, in the ambient air. Either it may be created by nature or man-made. Both the way we can see these air pollutions. And because of the air pollution, the dust, dirt accumulations on the monuments, we could see many monuments which has been a lot of dust and dirt accumulated over the monuments, and it completely defacing the structure as well as the sculptures. Sometimes we could not able to see the details of the sculptures as well as the monument architectural members because of the very thick deposits of accumulation of the dust and dirt. So because of the air pollution, the Taj Mahal has been, very often it has been mentioned that decolorization of the marble, it is because of the air pollution. And now we are taking a lot of precautionary measure how to remove this dust and dirt particle as well as SPM, the suspended particle matters, is also accumulated over the monument. This actually decoloring or changing the color of the marble surface, that is one big issue which has been faced by the monuments. The other thing is sea erosion and submergence. Particularly the monuments which has been located on the coastal region, that is the marine erosion, the coastal region, this will be affected by the marine erosion of the coast, and then subsidence, particularly the level, because of the erosion, the lower level will be subsided, and that's why it creates collapsing to the structure. And then intrusion of the sea. Sometimes the water enter very close to the sea land, and wherever any monuments are very close to the sea, that will also be been affected because of the intrusion of the sea, and then collapsing of the sculptures or these architectural members because of this thing. This will happen in many places. In addition to that, there are many irrigation and hydropower projects or dam construction has been taken up in India. And as you know, India is full of archaeological monuments, and certain areas which have been submerged because of the hydro projects or the dam projects. And for that, the department has been taken many precautionary steps. For example, Nagarjunakonda is one of the best example. When the dam was constructed, the whole area was being excavated and retrieved. That is known as the salvage archaeology. The whole thing has been retrieved, and then they exhibited into the model has been created in an island where it is above the water level. So like that, there are many monuments has been affected, and precautionary steps has been already been taken in certain areas. For example, in Nakanjagunda, that action has been taken. Similarly, some of the monuments which has been affected by the Narmada Valley project, that's also been transplanted from there to some higher levels. And even the Alampur, that is again in Telangana region, where it was been affected by the dam construction, the irrigation projects, and the whole temple has been dismantled stone by stone, and then were re-erected into another safer place. So this all is some of the effects has been taken, but still this is one of the major cause for the deterioration of the monuments. And again, the accumulation of dust and dirt particle, and then the draft sand. Sometimes the sand, particularly the monuments located very close to the river or very close to the coast, when the sand in a high velocity, it will come there and accumulated over the monument. Sometimes the whole monument will covered with the sand particles. This we can see at Mahabalipuram and then Konarak, and also some of the monuments very close to the coastal regions. You can see how almost half of the monument at Konarak has been completely covered with the sand dunes. And similarly at Mahabalipuram, many of the lower portion of the monument has been covered with the sand dunes. Another interesting example, particularly the river sand dunes, has been deposited is in one place called Talakkad in Karnataka. It is very close to the river Kaveri. Quite often, the sand which accumulate very close to monument, sometimes even cover the whole monument. And you can see one of the mandapa of the one of the temple, Kirtinarayana temple at Talakkad, almost 2/3 portion of the monument has been covered with the sand. And now the department is taking a lot of action to remove it and reconstructing the whole thing after removing the sand dunes over that. And another important example is at Patan, where the sand has been accumulated, and the whole well, it is one of the World Heritage Monument, that is a Ranike Vav in Patan. The whole well has been completely covered with a sand or the mud particle. Now gradually, very scientific way, the sand and mud particle has been removed from there, and the whole monument has been exposed to the public. Now fortunately it became one of the World Heritage Monuments in India. Vegetation growth is the big factor which is responsible for creating a lot of problems to the monument, and because of the vegetation growth, many monuments has been lost. The tree and plants grow over the structure and cause damage to the structure due to the penetration of the roots within the structure. In addition to that, the growth of the microflora like algae, moss, fungi, lichen, liverworts, moss, all the things also create a decay to the monument and also defacing to the monuments. We can see some of the example how the moss, the unicellular vegetations like moss, fungal, lichen, how it has been, grown over the monument and completely defacing to the monument. Either it will be turning into the black patches or it is turned into green patches. Sometimes different defacing of the monuments we could see. And this is one of the major example I have shown here, how the tree could cause deterioration to the monuments. The whole monuments is covered with highly grown trees, and even some of the monument grown right over the monument because of the load of the trees and also the penetration of the roots into the tree, into the monument, that causes deterioration to the structures. These are some of the monuments, how it has been badly affected because of the vegetation growth right over the monument. Animals also sometimes cause deterioration to the monument, particularly it will raise the ground salt because of this of the monument environment. Because of this ground salt by the urinating or the the excreta of the animals. That's also creating a lot of problems to the monument. And also the monkeys. Quite often you might have seen many monuments has been affected because they will take away what are things they like, and then they remove the tiles, they remove some of the portions whichever they feel it is convenient, they can remove it, and because of that it's also create a problem to the monuments. You know, bats is not a bird. I mean, bat is not a bird actually. It is a mammal. That's why it is also considered as an animal. And the bats cause lot of problem to the monuments. Particularly, it will have a bad smell, and also it will have lot of other factors which create because of the excreta or the urination of the bats. It will have a black patches over the structure, and also the excreta, it has been accumulated in the monument, which will create a bad smell, and also it will create some sort of acids which actually interact with the stone particle as well as the structural material and create problem to the structures. You can see how the bats has been very badly affected to the structure. You can see the black patches over the painting layers. Particularly, these are some of the painting layers in Ajanta and Ellora, where the bats has been habited there, and that makes the whole area into black patches. Again, coming to the bats, there are many bats, particularly the pigeons, which is a big nuisance to the monuments. Particularly pigeons, the urination and other their things, and also it will fly one place to other place and create lot of nuisance to the monuments. This we could see many monuments, particularly in the northern part of India as well as all over world, all over India, we could see this thing. You can see one of the best example here, how the bat is sitting right over the sculpture and then making a nuisance, how it has been completely defacing the sculptures, sitting right over the thing. And also some of the monuments which has been badly affected because of the bats we could see here, particularly the pigeons. Insects, it's again great deterioration agency in the monuments, particularly in the timber monuments, because the timber with this insect which will go inside, and then it will create a lot of holes, and then making some sort of a problem in the monuments. And also even the brick monuments and mortar monuments also affected by the insects. And here you can see how the insects has been deteriorating the painting layers of Ajanta. Actually, the painting always in India, the paintings has been created over the plaster layers, either the ground, which is either made of mud or lime, and also some of the ingredients like husk, straw, and other organic material, they put it together to create the ground. Over that, the painting was executed. Particularly the insects, they wanted to eat the organic material in the ground. They make holes and completely make hollow the whole ground of the painting, and because of that the painting layer will come out. So this we could see in many places, particularly in Ajanta caves and many monuments which is having paintings as well as very soft plaster materials. Saline action, as I told, this is one factor which is again deteriorate the monuments. Actually, the soluble salt which enter into the pore of the structure or the stone material, when it go inside, because of the heat, it crystallize. When it crystallize, it pull this adjoining structure. So when it pull it, then the cracks will develop. By crystallizing and then decrystallizing, this sort of formations or this sort of cycling, it will create a lot of problems to the structures. That we can see very well at a Shore Temple, even Konark, many other monuments which is located very close to the coast, because the saline action will have only in the coastal regions. And you can see how the saline action has been created problem to the small monuments at Mahabalipuram. Completely the sculptures has been defaced you could not able to identify the sculptures, is completely defaced, and also there will be a lot of pockets, like a whole pockets has been created on the monuments. Similarly, in Ajanta, as I told earlier, the water percolating, it has come along with the salt particle also. That salt particle deposited over the surface and became a permanent accrustation over the monument. This also creates problem to the structures. And this is another international issue that is known as the war. Actually, war is also a big factor which is responsible for the destruction of the monuments. Many monuments in the ancient period in India which has been destructed. Hampi is one of the best example where we can see only the ruins as of now, because it's one of the very promising and important capital of the Vijayanagara Empire, which has been completely destroyed because of the war, and we can see only the ruins there. And like that, there are many monuments which has been affected by the war. Other thing is the alteration, additions, modification, misuse, and negligence. These are another big causes for the deterioration of the monuments, or the missing of the monuments, or the spoiling of the monuments. Often we can see the alteration and additions and modification occur to the historical building without carrying the value of their heritage, and also drastically modifying or camouflaging the historical appearance of the historical structures. This makes the monument to lose its historical and aesthetic value or significance. You can see some of the example here, how badly that has been painted, completely camouflaging the original features of the monument, and now the original features has been totally covered by the color which has been provided. That is also synthetic colors which has been provided over the monument. This not only have a complete bad look to the monument, or some sort of original look to, the modern look to the monument, completely camouflaging the ancient and archaeological remains of the structure, and also sometimes the synthetic paintings will react with the stone particle and create problems. These are some of the pictures here where we can see putting oil and then smearing with the various the turmeric or other oil, other material. It also create problems to the structures as well as the sculptures. Here we can see the face of the Komatishvara statue at Saranapalgola. It has been brittle, or it has been almost peeled out because of the oils and other smearing materials that have been put over that. And also this middle, we can see the sculpture has been completely smeared with the turmeric and other material, oil, other thing. It will again cause structural or the main stone affecting problems. And third one, we could see how the visitors, because they don't care about the archaeological remains or the important our cultural heritage, they scribble over the monument and completely defacing, deteriorating the structural as well as the monument itself. Disploitation and human vandalism, as I told, some of the vandalism which has been created by the people, which is also responsible for the deterioration of the monuments. Even during the time of colonial period, the monuments also suffered immensely in the hands of amateur archaeologists and treasure hunters. Particularly the treasure hunters, they dig the monument because of the discovery or the identification of the treasures, and also many monuments has been spoiled for want of the brick as well as stones. This is one monument here. We could see the huge gopura of the Gangakonda Solapuram, which has been blasted because they wanted the stone to be taken for the construction of the dam nearby. And also some of the domes, it has been affected for the want of bricks. Even many of the Buddhist monuments in Andhra Pradesh, which has been destroyed, removed, mainly because of the stones which is available, particularly limestones or the other materials which have been used for the construction of the new houses. they remove it and taken away the thing. That's why we have lost these monuments once for all. Vibration is another big factor, particularly the structural instability or damage of the historical building may occur due to vibration caused by the heavy vehicular movement, mining operation, and other factors. Particularly the dams or the bridges, the ancient bridges. Because of the heavy vehicular movement, many bridges has been lost, and the ancient bridges has been lost. Even some of the monuments which is close to the main roads or the trunk roads, because of the constant traffic in that road, the vibrations created, and there are a lot of cracks has been developed to the structures. Another big factor is the mining operation, because there are many mining operations occurred very close to the monuments. They put the blastings, they put the heavy blasting material. Because of this blasting and the vibration which has been created by the blasting of the mining operators, that also create problems to the monuments. And the urbanization and encroachment, this is another big factor which is responsible for the spoiling the environment of the monument and also sometimes causing deterioration to the monuments. Particularly the urbanization, it has been very often we could see many housing, particularly the RCC building, coming very close to the monument, and that makes the monument insignificant. Not only that, even the urban which is coming very close to the monument, they will put all the garbages and also putting all the dust very close to the monument. It will completely create a kind of a nuisance to the monuments. Sometimes even the drainages which pass through very close to the monument, that's also deteriorating the monuments. And in certain areas, even the monument has been encroached upon because a part of the monument has been occupied by the people, either some or other way. And even they used to live within the monuments illegally. That also create a problem to the monument, particularly the firing within the monuments, particularly they're putting some cooking, other activities. It's also create problems to the monuments. These are some of the monuments, particularly the mounds, basically. The ancient mounds, which is having archaeological remains, it has been quite often affected by the encroachments. And these are some of the urbanization, how urbanization has been affected to the structure, particularly the encroachments very close to the monument, how it has been affected very badly to the monuments. And sometimes the monuments has been constructed with a very bad material. It's not, it is intentional, because certain things is locally available to the that time the people, so they make it to this one. And this sort of bad material, sometimes it will react with the environment, that also create a nuisance to the monument. These are some of the monuments where we could see how the bad quality of the material which has been used for the construction, it has been affected. One is the previous. Here we could see one of the sculptures. It has been carved in a very fragile sandstone. Because of the very weak quality of the sandstone, the whole sculpture has been weathered, and we could it completely defaced to the structure or the paint or the sculpture. The second one is the Taj Mahal, because the whole Taj Mahal, not all the marble has been used in a good quality. Some of the marble which has been used in a very impurity marble has been used. And because of the impurities which has been slashed or it has been exposed to the environment, it also causes deterioration to the structures. Unsustainable tourism, it is also one of the factors which is causing nuisance to the monument. Particularly, there is no proper system to regulate or manage the tourist flow to the monument. It may also turn to be a threat to the historical buildings. The main problem is wears and tears to the monument due to the movement of the visitors in a large number. Overcrowding in the monument lead to the misuse and sabotage. This again, it has happened. Recently, there is some few years before, there is a big sabotage happened in the Qutub Minar. There are many people died when they are climbing up to the Qutub Minar. they died because of this jeopardization in the monument, because of the crowd management is not there. That's the reason. And you can see how Taj Mahal sometimes it has been overcrowded. This is one of the most visited monument in India. How it has been overcrowded, and it is again there should be a proper tourist management system to regulate the visitors, and it will create, it will have some sort of a impact to the structures. So, to coming to the summary, I can say there are many causes for the deterioration of the cultural property, as I explained, the various causes which has been responsible for the deterioration of the structure. Unless otherwise, the conservator of the any monument, he should understand the causes of the deterioration. Because if you don't understand the causes of deterioration, he cannot take up any conservation work. And the conservation work has to be taken only in the basis of the deterioration causes, and also there should be a lot of precautionary measures has to be taken for the conservation work. It is necessary to take up precautionary because instead of waiting for any deterioration to come to the monument, it is necessary to take precautionary measures to safeguard the monuments from the deterioration well in advance. This is one of the wise way to save the monument in future. To know about these causes of deterioration, particularly the monuments in India, there are many books are available, and also mainly the manuals and then the archaeological reports which has been published by the Archaeological Survey of India and other state archaeology department and other agencies which is involved in the conservation of the monuments. So we can go through that one. That will give very vivid picture about the various the causes of deterioration and also the remedial measures taken by the conservator from time to time. In addition to that, some of the materials are available in the e-Pathshala as well as the websites. That also you can go through so that you can have a better understanding of the various causes of deterioration. Thank you for your patience. Thank you very much.